Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today is officially the last class of the year for Business Planning Clinic. We will start up again in January, but today is kind of looked at as a recap over what we went throughout the year. I also like to discuss what kind of goals we set for ourselves at the beginning of the year and where we're at currently and what we would like to see for ourselves for next year. So just to kind of recap between the shift and the MREA, I think the shift was definitely a very good book for this time of year because we did see our shift happen between going from a seller's market drastically into a buyer's market and almost to a standstill. Some would say, I mean, we're still selling real estate, but there was definitely a lot of buyers that decided to take a step back and hold off just because the interest rates kept fluctuating so much. One day they would qualify and the next day they wouldn't. So it was definitely a really good book that was just seemed to be right on time with everything else that's been going on. So when it comes to building your brand and building your business for real estate, one of the key factors that you want to keep in mind is prospecting. Prospecting is going to turn into leads, and that is going to be your base foundation, leads, leverage, and listings. And you want to make sure that you're working your sphere of influence and making your calls and touching base with your people on a daily basis, if not weekly basis. Like a lot of times you can get a little overwhelmed, especially if you feel like you have a large database. Like, how am I supposed to be of importance to these people and making sure that I'm keeping in touch? One of the ways that you can go about doing this is really breaking it down. You don't necessarily want to call 100 people in one day of your database if you do find that overwhelming, but you can break that up with 20 people a day, Monday through Friday, and hit your 100 that way. In addition to making phone calls, because nothing is going to replace you actually physically speaking with your people, is making relevant emails or mailers just to let them know that you're at top of mind when they think about selling real estate, but also so that you are being a very caring individual. If you take the approach with being caring and understanding to the situation and their feelings and how everything going on with the world, whether it's them dealing with COVID still or having a hard time finding work. I mean, it is around that holiday season. A lot of people deal with depression around this time of the year. Just being that caring person is going to set you apart from anybody else that may be reaching out to them. So putting that at the forefront of your mind is going to make it a lot easier to stay in connection with these people. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily needing to talk about real estate every time that you reach out to them. So let's say that you do 2 emails a week. One email can be something personal, lighthearted, or fun, like a recipe or some events that are happening around the town to get people out and about and in the community. And then another one could actually be a market update, letting people know what the numbers are looking like and stuff like that. So by keeping a balance, you're going to retain your relationships with these people and making sure that you're putting the relationship first and not too business hungry to where you come off too salesy. So once you're working your leads on a regular basis, you want to make sure that you turn these leads into listings. Now, your individual person may not be the person that's selling the house. It may be somebody else that they know. And by being at the forefront of their mind, when somebody asks them, hey, are you an agent? Do you know an agent who can help me sell a house? They're going to think about you. So once you get these listings, you're going to want to make sure that you leverage these listings and make sure that you are turning that into at least 2 more deals aside from that listing. So that could mean from working a proper open house, or you could be farming that neighborhood, inviting them to the open house, telling them about the new listing, telling them when it gets sold, just basically working the community, as well as using that house to market on your social media presence as well. By working your listing to its fullest, you should turn around and have 2 more deals after that. And then you'll be able to leverage your business to continue to grow your sphere, and the cycle just continues to repeat. So listing, leads, and leverage. In addition to maintaining your business, you also want to consider your budget and your finances. It is hard to keep on budget, especially when everybody hears the saying, it costs money to make money, right? You got to spend money to make money, but you want to make sure that you are making sound investments and spending your money frugally, because there is a lot of things out there that you can do that is little to no cost to you. So you want to make sure that you're exhausting those opportunities and avenues first before you decide to go into spending all your money. And every year I tell the same story where I bought 1,000 plastic cups with my broker's logo on it, my contact information on it, and did not utilize any of those cups in any kind of marketing or anything along those lines. And so when you're investing in something, you want to start small. One of the lessons that I got to learn over this past year is making sure that you read the contracts that anybody is sending you to put you into terms and agreements or whatever with whatever it is that they're selling. So what a salesperson tells you while you're talking to them and meeting with them and what the contract actually says is sometimes two very different things. And then you could find yourself in a year commitment, and it could be a pretty hefty commitment, and you're going to unfortunately end up spending that money throughout the year for something that is not given the same value that it intended to. For example, I had one company that advertised themselves as lead generating. Those were the words that they used, lead generating. And it was, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. And you should always take that to heart. But it sounded like a really good foundation. It was supposedly government backed, right? Because it was a contract with a military basis to help generate leads for those military people coming in and out, right? What it ended up actually being was just some cheesy marketing on their actual platform. They weren't actually advertising anywhere. They were not generating leads at all. And when I had originally signed up for them, I was told it was recommended to me by another person who vouched for them. So that kind of softened my brain a little bit, because I'm like, oh, if it's working for them, then they already done the research or whatever. You can't trust anybody else to do the research for you, unfortunately. So when I originally talked to them, it was supposed to be monthly and that I could cancel at any time, just give a 30-day notice. That was not the case. They said that I had signed an agreement for a year commitment and denied ever saying that it was lead generation, denied saying that we could cancel, just a whole lot of denial. And it's still something that I'm dealing with, even at the end of the year. And I literally only tried them out for a little over a month because I realized right out the gate that they were not lead generating like they said they were. So be very protective of your budget. Make sure you do the research. Make sure you read the contracts. I understand that they dangle in your face that if you don't sign up, then you're going to lose this great rate, or you're going to lose this spot. In reality, if the spot's going to fill up that fast, then maybe it's just not a right fit for you. If it's going to force you to make a decision before you're actually comfortable making it, maybe it's really not a right fit. And then just always make sure you look at the exit clause for terminating the agreement so that you can protect yourself. As we shift more into a down market, which is our buyer's market, you want to be very protective of your budget, and you really want to pull back on frivolous spending and make sure that your investments are actually giving you a return. If that means buying leads, I'm not going to tell you not to buy leads. I've bought leads, but it may be more beneficial for you in this down market to do a lead generation program that you pay on the back end instead of paying an upfront cost. So you may pay a higher referral fee, like a 35% referral fee, like Ojo and OpCity charge, but it's not any money out of your pocket up front. And the way I always look at it is it's business that I didn't have before I took it. So this will help you grow your business, and this will help keep you in the green when it comes to running your business and maintaining your budget. So always be mindful of your budget. You should be reviewing your budget on a weekly basis, monthly basis, and a quarterly basis That way you can make your adjustments as you need to. I heard one really good piece of advice not too long ago where they basically stated when it comes to their business account, they have a separate account that they pay their expenses out of from the account that their deposit goes into. So every time your commission check comes through, you'll have that go in one account, and then you'll have your expenses coming out of a different account. And the reason why this is good, because one, it keeps you on budget. You already know how much money needs to go into that account monthly to cover the bills for that month. But then on top of this, if once you grow and get bigger and you start to hire on staff, this also lessens the opportunity for embezzlement and stuff like that. So that's a little bit further down the road, but it's still a very good practice to go ahead and get in. That way, if there's an unexpected expense, you are forced to take time out of your day, review what the expense is, and review, whether or not you need to make any changes in the future. So always check on your budget weekly, monthly, and quarterly so that you can make sure that you're staying on top of that. In addition to keeping up with your budget and keeping up with your leads as you shift into the buyer's market, you really want to change or I don't want to say change, but adjust some of your tactics. As you shift into a buyer's market, we're not going to be dealing with the same caliber of sellers or buyers. Buyers are paying a higher interest rate. It's going to cost them more money to purchase. So they're going to want to win more than what they did in the seller's market. In the seller's market, they were giving up their firstborn child, buying pizza for a year for the seller. Like, they were doing a lot of things just to get the house. And we're going to actually see the opposite of that, where the seller is going to be doing a lot of things, jumping through hoops to go ahead and get the buyer to commit to buying the house. So that means that you're going to be able to get not just home inspections, but actual repairs done, maybe even some carpet and paint allowance, some debt buy down for our VA buyers that are qualified for it, and closing cost assistance and stuff. So you really want to make sure that you are keeping that in mind as you start to write these offers for your clients, so that you can be the hero for your buyers. And you also, on the other side of it, want to prepare your sellers for this as well. Selling at the top of the market may not be a good idea anymore, because we're not going to have multiple offer situations where everybody is bidding the price up. I always try to, everything that I've read always says to like sell on the curve, like sell just before the curve, or sell on the curve, sell on the hill, sell just before the hill. So basically what that means is, instead of pricing it at the top price market, you actually want to price just below that or right at it. That way, if the market drives the price up, then the market drives the price up. But if you start too high and you're not getting the publicity that you needed initially, then you're sitting on the market, which starts to wear and tear on your ability to sell the property. And when it comes to your sellers, they may be afraid that somebody is going to offer them less. So they always say, well, I want to start here because I know somebody's going to try to negotiate me down. The counterbalance to that is like saying, I definitely understand, but you are still in control. If they want the house, then they'll pay the price. But if you start too high, not only could you be pricing yourself out of the budget of a potential buyer, but in addition to that, there may be people that may not see the value the same way. So therefore, they do not even consider your house because they feel like you are being unrealistic right out the gate. So you want to make sure that you have all of these conversations with your clients. So in the seller's market, we were just meeting people, taking them to see in houses, or slapping it on the market quickly as possible. We're going to start seeing a lot more consultations actually taking place now, just because you are going to need to sit down with your clients and lay out the expectations so that they know how to move in the future and they are prepared for the different obstacles that you may have to overcome during the process of selling their home. So that's pretty much the bulk of the recap of what we went over this past year. What I'd like to talk about, if we can just kind of open it up for a group chat, as far as what did your goals look like at the beginning of 2022? Did you meet your goals? If you didn't meet your goals, like how far off were you? And what would you like to see for yourself in 2023? Do I have any volunteers for tribute? Ah, nobody wants to talk about it.
Okay, I can. It's
Okay,
me.
let's do it. Let's do it.
So, I didn't meet my goal for 2022.
Mm-hmm.
But for 2023, I actually am about to attend a business planning, like what is it's like a where you make a business plan and you go over your business plan with other realtors. I'm about to attend one of those.
Nice.
But I do want to actually, now that we have HomeSnap Pro, it's gonna make calls more. And yeah, just get out there more instead of what I did in
Good.
2022.
Good. I mean, I'll admit I didn't hit my goals for 2022 either. I had planned on selling 48 houses and I did not get that. So there's the thing is we have to reprogram our mind. Our minds are used to operating a certain way. We are used to telling ourselves a certain thing on a regular basis, and you can't lie to your brain, right? So you can't make them think something different. So whatever you're telling yourself is what your brain is going to process and think. So
Right.
the steps that we are taking to change our mindset is really what's going to lay the foundation for the growth the following years. So even
Yeah.
though you set your goal and you may not hit your goal, still keep setting your goals. Make sure that you are setting realistic goals, right? Like I'm not
Mhm.
saying that I'm going to be a supermodel or an astronaut or anything along those lines, because those goals are not realistic for me, right?
Okay.
But selling 48 houses a year is realistic for me because, for one, I'm not that far away from it. And then for two, I see other agents that are doing it. And that makes it easier for me to train my brain into thinking, yes, this is something that I can do. So, does anybody here do affirmations on a daily basis?
I don't do them on a daily basis. I'm not consistent.
I would like to challenge you guys for 2023 to, if you don't do anything else, start
Mhm.
doing daily affirmations.
Okay.
The thing about setting up your daily affirmations is, one, they need to be specific. It
Hmm.
cannot be, I want to be rich. I want to be rich. It
Yeah,
can't
no.
be, you have to be specific. And then on top of that, your affirmation needs to be a statement as if it already exists.
Right.
So instead of saying, I want to make $300,000 a year next year, um, instead, because like you're still putting that in the future. So you're still not
Mhm.
training your brain to be in the right mindset. So
Right.
for example, my daily affirmations, and I'm just going to share with y'all, two of my daily affirmations is, one of them is, I'm enjoying being 165 pounds and healthy, because I'm turning 40 tomorrow. I am a little overweight and I need to get myself in check, right? So I'm enjoying being 165 pounds and living a healthy life. And then I am enjoying making $25,000 a month and living debt free. And those are my two affirmations, and I say them to myself a lot. Like if I'm doing my makeup in the morning and fixing my hair, I'm saying my
Mhm.
affirmations to myself. If I feel like I'm about to binge and eat a whole bunch of stuff that I don't need to eat, I'm saying my affirmations to myself. If I'm avoiding making my calls, I'm saying my affirmations to myself. It also helps to write your affirmations down, because this is going to
Mhm.
allow your brain to really take in these things. And just so you know, like I do write mine down. Like I know it looks like, serial
Mhm.
killer or whatever over here, but you're really trying to reset how you think and putting yourself in a mindset that will allow you to get out of your own way. Because we
Right.
are our biggest critics, and we are the ones that that I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to sit there and make my calls, but instead I chose to watch TV. And I'm not even watching anything good. I'm watching something that I have seen 100 times, and it's literally just playing in the background. So we have to get out of our own way. And the best way for us to do that is to first start training our minds to accept the fact that we can. This was a really big deal for me in 2019. 2019, I considered getting out of real estate because I was financially struggling. I was not making the sales as well as I was when I first got licensed. And I was really beginning to question whether or not this was something I could do. I was being really hard on myself. And I started doing a lot of research into, some people call it the secret, law of attraction. There's a whole bunch of different stuff that kind of means all the same thing. And what you do with yourself is really going to reflect in the business that you do. So take the time out to love yourself every single day. And your affirmations can be whatever it is that you want, as long as it's positive. Now, you don't want to sit there and say something like, wishing bad on somebody else, right? Because we do believe in karma. What goes around comes around, right? And honestly, when you start doing a lot of research in the law of attraction, even if you're wishing the negative on somebody else, like, oh, I hope they break their leg, I hope they break their leg, I hope they break their leg, you end up being the one that breaks your leg, because you're still putting that negativity in your mind. Even though you're trying to push it on somebody else, you're actually bringing it to yourself. So you really want to make sure that you are thinking positive thoughts and that you are taking it easy on yourself. Like, this is definitely going to be an uphill battle. It's not going to be easy. You are going to trip, you are going to fall, you are going to have a hard time, and you're going to feel like you can't do it, and you're going to feel like a failure. But the only time that you actually fail is when you quit trying. So when you decide to quit real estate and say, this is not for me, I no longer want to do this, because you didn't actually try, you will always have it in the back of your mind that you didn't actually try. Right. So don't be mad at yourself if you take a day and you didn't do everything that you were going to. Don't be mad at yourself if you didn't hit your goals. As long as you are still working and trying to get better each day, you're going to be successful.
Yeah, I'm reading the book. What is this called? Ninja Selling.
Yes.
It actually talks about that. I'm in the beginning.
I love that book. I have been trying to get everybody to read that book. I love that book.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good so far.
It is very good. I listened to it in Audible, and I definitely enjoy their tactics. Bill Crespo, one of the coaches, our coach here, he coaches on agents making phone calls, right? And it's calling for sell by owner, FSBOs, withdrawals, that kind of things. Which is cool, but it's not necessarily easy for everybody. It's right. Honestly one of the challenges for me, because I'm like, I'm calling this total stranger in hopes that they don't hang up on me, and I have not trained my brain enough to just make the calls. But one thing I like about Ninja Selling is it actually focuses on your sphere and how to grow and build your sphere naturally by being involved with the people around you. And a lot of people don't realize how all the opportunities that they can have to be involved. And this can include the people that you go to church with. This can include the people that you work out with. This can include the parents that your kids play for, like the parent circle that I can't think of right now. If you're in the military, this could be military. If you have a second job, it could be your coworkers. If you're involved with your community, like, there's so many different opportunities for us to be involved and grow a sphere of influence. And Ninja Seller really focuses on that and working that sphere and actually being relevant to these people and not just a pushy salesperson. So good book. I love it.
Yeah. And I also got the 12-week year.
Yes.
Bill Crespo. I look at his, I go on his Mondays and Fridays trainings.
Yes.
And he talks about the 12-week year too.
Yep, I have that one too. That's a good one too.
So I'm gonna read it.
So if you don't mind me asking, if you don't mind sharing, what are your goals for 2023? Do you have like financial goals, like how much you'd like to make, or do you have a number that you want to hit as far as units sold?
I do. I wanted to try off 14, selling 14 homes.
Nice.
Um, or, buyers, either one.
Yeah.
And financially, I wanted to do 100,000 as the
Okay.
start and go from there.
That sounds
And
like
if I
a
make more,
very
it'd be
realistic
good.
goal.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted it more realistic. So
Good.
I'm gonna use my techniques from ninja selling,
Yeah.
12-week year, and
Yes.
keep working.
That's fantastic. I think those goals are very reachable for you, and you just got to keep plugging away at it.
Yes.
Are you currently investing any lead generation, or what things are you doing to try to generate leads aside from implementing ninja selling?
I wanted to implement more open houses, but I've been doing some open houses. Um, I know you can look on try to do for sale by owners to
Okay.
do the listing side,
Yes.
and your calling is calling is something that I block myself from, honestly.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. It's
but
challenging.
working on that. And now that I've seen that you can do much more with your sphere of influence, working on that now.
Fantastic. That's good. Well, I am looking forward to seeing great things from you for 2023. This is going to be awesome. Are you going to be making a vision board with your business planning class, or is it just
Yes.
for
Uh-huh.
that's
It comes,
okay,
they
cool.
make it as well. So we do the business, they're like the one-page business plan, and then you make a vision board and put your
Fantastic.
pictures and stuff. So I said, okay, this sounds like it's gonna be fun.
Good, good. Well, do me a favor. After you make your vision board, send me a picture of it.
Okay.
I want to see it. I love everybody's vision boards because one, it gives you inspiration on how to make one for yourself, but for two, like you really get to know the person, the individual,
Yeah,
so I'm looking
yeah.
forward to it. Send it to me.
I will. Once I do it, I'm gonna send it to you.
Good. Well, this class would have been a little bit longer if we had more people to participate, but
It's okay. It's
you're
okay.
my
You're
ride
here.
or die.
It's okay. I'm here.
Do you have any questions or anything like that for me, or any reflection on 2022? Like what was probably like the biggest challenge that you faced this past year?
Getting started for me.
Mm-hmm.
Getting started because I just got my real estate license. It's a year now,
Yeah,
but just getting started and getting out there was more of my challenge for myself.
good. And do you feel like you've overcame that challenge?
Um, somewhat, not fully, not to a full potential, no.
Okay.
But I've gotten out there a little bit. I've blocked myself with, always thinking like, oh man, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Here's my son, he's in the background crying, sorry. But it was more so me
Okay.
that blocked myself. So changing the mindset, that's what I worked on mainly.
Good.
Just to prepare myself for 2023.
Good. Good. So do some daily affirmations. I
Mm-hmm.
do recommend saying them to yourself. Like if you could take time out in the morning or whenever is the best time for you and write them down like 20 times a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but saying them to yourself throughout the day is really going to be the kicker, and you want to make sure that you are forcing yourself to take time out to do it because we're just not in practice for it, right? So we got
Yeah,
to get in the habit and be intentional with making sure that we're saying these things to ourselves.
yeah, most definitely.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and end the class early since that's pretty much it, but
Okay.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Are you coming to the Christmas party later this month?
Yes, ma'am. I'm coming to the training tomorrow as well.
Sweet. All right, I'll see you tomorrow then.
Alrighty.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.